All right.
You can dye your trim. I mean,
We have
like
one more
St.
question.
Patty's Day, there's green trim.
Oh my God.
Valentine's Day, there's red trim. There's probably red trim once a month.
Oh God!
Oh my God.
Dude, that was
That one
was too
definitely
far.
over the line.
You fuckers are way
That
too
was-
slow.
no,
that
dude,
took you guys like
that
3
was-
seconds to get that.
There is
No.
a delay over the internet, you know,
no,
from
the
when
first
you
2
speak and we
seconds was
hear
like,
it.
did he actually fucking say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Five Dirty Bikers podcast. Presented by Memphis Shades, the clear choice for custom windshields and fairings for your motorcycle. And Wild Ass Seats, stay in the saddle longer and in total comfort no matter your butt or budget.
That's the worst.
Fuck, that's hot. God damn it.
Wow, that even turned your face red, Dave. That
Oh,
must have been hot.
motherfucker, I burnt the shit out of my lips.
I hate when
That's
that
what she
happens.
said.
That's what she said, for sure.
Too much motion, Bernie.
Damn, man. Whew. You do a little wipe up.
Get the corners of your mouth real good. Sometimes that shit hangs around.
Oh, jeez. You guys are just sick.
Woo.
You're absolutely sick.
It's true.
Well, I guess we're without Mr. Cox tonight.
No cocks.
There's no Cox. The Cox is up in the air.
Well, that just leaves us. That just leaves us with 4 dirty bikers, or 3 dirty bikers and Brittany.
For 4 dirty bikers and
Yeah,
the
because
B.
I bathe regularly.
So you
Do
say?
Do you really? Is that a thing?
Cleaning carpets and bathing regularly.
Yeah.
Good hygiene over there.
So I just want to start off this episode by just saying a sincere thank you. We've gotten either 2 or 3 new patrons in the last probably 3 weeks or month or so, and we haven't actually thanked them. So thank you to the new patrons that are out there. So for those of you that continue to support the Five Dirty Bikers podcast on Patreon, we really appreciate everything that you guys do and helping us keep the lights on, and specifically helping us build this charity bike this time around. But we really appreciate it, and we want to thank our new patrons that have joined to become part of the FDB family. And the other thing too is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the last couple of weeks, we've gotten quite a few new Discord members too. So
Yeah.
we're getting 1 or 2 new Discord members every day now. So yeah, it's great. It's we have over 650 plus members in our Discord, and I would say that we have a pretty strong contingent. I'd say at least 100 members that are fairly to very active in the Discord that are chatting every day. So
Mm-hmm. If you need,
So,
if you
yeah.
need it's a place to go if you need a good laugh or
for sure.
information.
Well, and don't forget to mention we did our Q4 giveaway to our top tier patrons last weekend.
Yes, Mark received his package.
The guy that fucking wins everything.
Dude,
I
that guy
asked him
does
for
win
I asked
everything.
him for lotto numbers. He wouldn't help me out.
No.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
What do you expect? He hangs out with dead people all day.
Yeah, that could open up a whole can of worms.
We should have Moto Mortician guest
Halloween
one
episode. Halloween episode.
And let's like talk some. Let's get real. Let's get real with the mortician.
Let's get real.
I've got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions I'd like to get answered.
I do know one thing that I can say for sure. At FDBM 21, we were all sitting at a steak place in a group of people and having a conversation about being a real adult means that you've shit your pants. And Brittany couldn't believe that this was actually a thing until we pulled the table of how many actual real adults had shit their pants. And Brittany was completely and totally astonished that about 97% of the people sitting at the table had shit their pants, and I would say the other 3% just wouldn't admit to it.
I was in the other 3%, and I have not shit my pants.
Okay,
Sorry.
you're lying, but that's okay.
Sorry.
So, and Mark proceeded to tell us a story when he was working in said profession that he has, and actually not only shit his pants, but the suit he was wearing in such of a way that he had to call his wife and she had to bring him a change of clothes before he could continue on with the services of the day.
Yep.
So, yeah. You know, it's a real thing. It happens to the best of us. Except Brittany apparently has never had such of an experience.
Nope, I have never shit myself
Nor have
in
I.
public.
And I'm
Never
on
happened.
metformin, so that should tell you something.
You're lucky.
That you're old?
If you're a diabetic.
So what are we talking about today, kids?
Apparently shitting your pants.
I got
We
some
talk about that
stories.
every week.
I got some stories. I'm an adult.
What
We do
you
have
done
some
in your
Discord.
pants, Dustin?
We do have some Discord questions that we can get to later, but I think Dustin had a very a good topic. So you should read us in, Dustin, so we can get to this one.
Okay, everybody. So we're going to talk about attitude. How attitude is everything when you're in this community. I think we've all experienced good and bad during our time riding bikes and with other people, of course. Of course, we spend time with a lot of people, too, at our events, other events, meetups, gatherings, what have you. So I'm sure there's maybe a few people in the crowd that you go see when you're out riding that maybe send off a bad vibe. And you're kind of wondering, why people act this way, because this is supposed to be what's the word I'm looking for? What is the
Welcoming?
word I'm looking for? Welcoming. Thank you, Ryan. This is supposed to be a welcoming community. There's not as many motorcycle riders as a lot of people think. So being able to support each other and, at least be courteous to each other. I'm not saying you have to like everybody, but just a little courtesy, decency, be a good human being can go a long way.
I wonder if this still isn't a part of that kind of like tough guy motorcyclist machismo situation. You know what I mean? Where you get a motorcycle and you throw on your leather jacket or said, whatever outfit that cosplay outfit that you want to wear to ride your motorcycle. And you go out and all of a sudden you're filled with testosterone and big dick energy and you want to get out there and prove to everybody that you're a real man. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that this is what it is. I'm just speculating if that is still part of the the cultural aspect of it that people are referring to and where we experience some of that some of those attitudes from.
Yeah. I mean, because we've all had an experience like this, right? I mean, everybody show hands.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, somebody's rolled up in some way and said something that rubbed you or somebody in your group the wrong way. So
Usually they assume I don't own the motorcycle.
Is that well? Okay, so I
Sorry,
think
I was trying
no. I think that you bring an interesting point there, Brittany, because Dustin is talking about attitude, and that certainly can be an attitude that people are giving you, which is, I don't believe you that that's your bike. Where's your boyfriend? Where's your husband? Where's your whatever, right? Kind of a situation. And I think that's still negative energy from that perspective, right? I mean, I think everybody, we should get patches that say make motorcycling fun again, right? Because I think what happens with some people is that we take ourselves too seriously. And I can see where that would happen, right? Our motorcycles, first of all, they're not cheap. And then we spend a bunch of money modding them out. And then at some point in time, we've decided that that whole process and everything, it's a very serious proposition, right? So instead of looking at it as being fun, now it's serious, right? You roll up to bike night and it's serious business instead of being fun.
Yeah.
But do you really think it's an issue? I mean, every group has a percentage of assholes. Do you think that we have more of a bigger percentage of assholes than other groups? Because I mean, personally, I haven't experienced anything that's like over the top bad.
I haven't really either, but I think that's primarily because I just ride by myself, so there's no one to interact with.
Or, Brittany, perhaps that means that if the two of us are like that, that we're the assholes.
Perhaps it is.
Hey, if you don't know who the asshole is,
It must be.
Probably
It's
you.
you.
It must be, baby.
Unless
If you
Ryan's
can't find the
there,
asshole in
then
the
it's
crowd of
Ryan.
people, it's you. Well, I can always find the asshole in the crowd of people because I just walk up and find the nearest mirror, and I'm doing just fine.
There you go. But I mean, really, I mean, think about it. Is it really? I mean, for us, I mean, we can talk stereotypes all we want, but
Oh,
personal
sure.
experience.
Well-
Have you guys seen like a ton of that?
Well, let's
Oh, yeah.
be honest, Dave. I have been accused of being an asshole on occasion or two. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of that's just because of your face.
Well, it could be. You're not wrong. It could be, right? Maybe I have an asshole face. I don't know. But I think that sometimes for a lot of people, perception is reality, right? So they see something or they want to see something a certain way, and then it becomes that way, as opposed to, giving that situation or that person, a chance. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. And Dave, I think if you think about like, if you rolled up to a gas station and you parked your bike in the back of the gas station and you left your helmet on there and you turned around and walked into the gas station, I don't know that somebody would automatically look at you and say, that guy's a motorcyclist, right? So I think that maybe the vibe that you're putting out there isn't that same vibe that maybe that I put out there when I walk into a gas station. Maybe I look the part. Maybe I'm more cosplay than you are, and so that puts a stigma on it. I don't know. I mean, I think that that definitely can be part of it, and then I think that people might feed into that stigma. But what I do find interesting about what Dustin said about attitude, that we've all run into people like that, is that I've traveled the country in a car and I've traveled the country on a motorcycle. And if you pull up to a gas station in your car, no one says jack shit to you.
That's a
It doesn't
very good
matter.
point.
It doesn't matter if you are, in Kentucky with North Dakota license plates, or if you're in North Dakota with North Dakota license plates. If you're in your car, they don't say shit to you. But if you're on a bike and your bike is packed down and you pull up, you're almost at every gas station, someone is going to say something to you. And I have not run into a situation where those people that are saying something to me is negative. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, when I pull up in my car, people usually say, "Oh, that's a badass car," but they don't say anything negative.
Yeah, but I think Ryan's right, where people are more likely to say something to you if you're on your motorcycle. But that's not necessarily motorcyclists either. That's just people in general. If you watch them, they have a different attitude when they see you. And I think a lot of people probably have more of that intimidated or whatever type attitude towards you.
I tell you what, I do see though in those cases are a lot of people that either used to ride bikes or wish they could ride bikes are the ones that come up more often than not to say
Yeah.
something about comment about the bike or
Yep.
asking how the weather is out on the road or whatever,
And I don't know if you do this, Dave, but I certainly do this. I've made actually a concerted effort, and I started thinking about it. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but it was on one of my solo trips, and I pulled up next to a car. I shouldn't say I pulled up. I was passing a car, but sometimes how your cruise is just set just a few miles over, so you're passing them, but it's a little bit slower.
Yep.
So I was passing a car, and I looked over, and all I saw was this kid's face just plastered against the windshield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, his face was just plastered. And I ride with a mirrored visor, so you can't see into it. And
Thank God.
I actually started going by it, and then I realized at that moment, maybe I should try something different. And I popped my visor open so he could see my eyes and my face, and I waved at him. And the kid went fucking berserk. I mean, he was just like waving and going nuts, right? And so then I said to myself, I think every time now when I'm riding, whether I'm in a group or whether I'm whatever, if I see a kid, I always make sure I wave and I always make sure I make eye contact.
Oh yeah, I do
And
the same thing, dude.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that to be creepy. Like, I want like that little kid to like remember that guy that rode by him on a bike and think one day like, I want to be that guy.
Right.
You know?
With attitude comes impression. You know, we're part of this community that may have shade thrown toward it because of, you know, whatever stories that people have heard.
Sure.
You know, if you're riding by yourself or with a group, I mean, I know if I stop at a gas station for fuel or something, I take off my helmet. I'm not be a frowning, mean motherfucker.
Right.
I'm smiling. I'm on my fucking bike, dude. It's one of the things I love to do.
Right. I think if more people saw us when we first, okay, so like when we meet up somewhere, what's almost the first thing that you do? You get off your bike and you go give your buddies a hug that you haven't seen in a really long time, right? I think that that's one of the things that people don't see, that exchange, that differentiation between like when you just go hang out with your normal friends, but when you hang out with your bike friends, you like go give these people a hug. You know what I mean? It's like FDBM, you spend the first 10 minutes every time you see somebody pulls up and you're like going over and giving them a hug. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a lot of people that don't see that exchange and see that camaraderie, that no matter what walk of life you come from, you automatically have this thing in common, this thing you can talk about, this thing that bonds you. And I think that changes that idea or that impression. And like Dave said, there's assholes in everything. But I think when there's a smaller portion of people that do something, the proportion of assholes seems bigger because there's less people doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
When I've gone to like car club meetups and stuff, it's very much the same as, you know, when you go to a motorcycle meetup. But it's all people come together that have, you know, that they share a common interest, you know, but they don't come off like with attitude usually.
Yeah, I think that from my experience too, what I always lean back on is kind of just what I said, like make motorcycling fun again, right? Like to me, it's really more about how serious people take themselves or take that situation. It's like, I always tell people, like when I'm giving anybody shit on the podcast, I'm like, you know, everybody needs to understand, like I get as good as I give, right? So if anybody hears me say, you know, 5 times in a podcast that Dave is old, what you guys don't realize is that Dave is going to stick it to me at least as many times, right? And that's not, you know, that's
I have never stuck it to you. Do not tell people I stick it to you.
I didn't say you stick it in me. I said stick it to me. There's a big difference, Dave.
No, I'm not sticking anything on you or in you.
But I think that impression can linger, and I think that Dustin made that point too. You know, you get to a gas station and you're taking your helmet off and you're whatever, and all of a sudden people are like, "Ooh, you know, they have this impression." And I think it's different when you're on a motorcycle. When you stop at a gas station, to me, it's like very, like there's a definite point to what you're doing. Like you're getting gas, you're taking a leak, you're drinking a Red Bull, and you're back on the road, right? You're not really fucking around. And maybe that's different when you're in a car, when you're doing a trip a different way. But I think it's a little bit more goal orientated when you're on your bike.
I'd agree. But I think more what you're talking about is more of people's understanding of a stereotype rather than
for sure
a rider having attitude, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I do think that a stereotype definitely plays into that. And I think there are people that play right back into that stereotype. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get a motorcycle and they want to be a tough guy. And having a motorcycle does not make you a tough guy.
I mean, I want to be a tough guy. I love it when I wear my leather vest and I feel like I look so intimidating to everyone. I love
with
that
your
feeling.
yoga shorts. You look
Yeah,
so
with my yoga
intimidating.
shorts.
I know at least 3 people that you have a bigger dick than, Brittany, so I'm just saying.
Okay, I want to know this list.
Anyone we
Tony.
know?
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
So, Dustin, what made you think of this topic?
I don't know. There's one very specific story that comes to mind, and I may have mentioned it on this show a couple of years ago. I don't know if I did or not. But one day, me and my brother went and had lunch at Tilly's Tavern. Brian's been there, and we're sitting at the bar having a drink after lunch, and these two couples walk in. They're all wearing leathers, and two of them walk in, and then the other two walk in just a little bit later. Well, the second two that come in, the gentleman that was riding the bike bellies up to the bar, getting ready to order a drink. You know, I said hi to him, how's it going, and just kind of nodded, barely acknowledged me at all. Then I just tried to make conversation because he came in on a motorcycle. I'm a motorcyclist. I said, "What are you riding?" He says, "That street glide out there." And I'm looking over at the door because it's just one glass door, and there's no bike there. So this fucker's wanting me to get up, walk up over to the door 25 feet to go look outside to see his bike. But could you just have been a little more courteous to tell me what the hell, a little bit more about your bike right here instead of me getting up and have to go walk? And then the guy just kind of like walked off, not nice at all. That's the type of attitude I'm talking about.
Yeah. I really haven't come across that a whole lot, but I wonder too, like, not to bring the sex thing into it, but I wonder if people approach females a little bit differently though too. Like people probably get more excited to see you riding, or they're more surprised by it, and so I may not experience as much of that as like two dudes that are passing.
Yeah, it was just weird. Usually people they're more enthusiastic to talk about their bikes, especially if they're out on a weekend ride, out having fun. They come in to have a beer, then they're going to get back out on the road or whatever. It's just that type of shit. I just don't get it. I don't know why people have to be like that.
But I don't necessarily know that's attitude, though. I mean, maybe
he has
Maybe
one.
he was just that way.
Maybe he just didn't want to. I mean, if you're interested in the bike, it's the street glide. Why do I need to tell you anything about it? I don't think that's
trying to
an
make.
attitude,
I'm just trying to make conversation. Maybe I'm just too nice, I guess.
Well, he's having a bad day. Maybe
Who has a bad day on the bike with your wife?
Come on.
Someone who doesn't like their
I get
wife.
pissed off a lot when people, want to be chatty Cathy, and I'm not in the mood, or maybe I'm dealing with something that day.
That could be.
But
I mean, at the other end of the spectrum, there's people I think that are just overly nice, and I don't know how they can be nice and bubbly all the time, because I think it puts on a fake mask. It's like you watch some people's videos. Every video, they're smiling, they're bubbly, they're welcome to this and welcome to that. I'm like, how can you fucking be like that day to day? I don't get it. That's fake to me.
Most people have ups and downs.
Yeah. I mean, life can kick you in the ass some days, and you don't want to deal with it.
For sure. And I think that's a little bit more like, like being genuine and being true to who you are. And when you have those relationships or friendships that allow you to be that way, I think you experience more of those ups and downs with people. I think if you have a very like on the surface relationship with somebody, you don't experience some of those other emotions or other feelings from people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you like an acquaintance, when you talk about somebody who's just an acquaintance, it's probably not somebody that you've had a deep conversation with or whatever. So you might not experience some of those things. So you might always experience that person like in an up phase, where when you have a real relationship or a real friendship with somebody, you're going to have times when you disagree. You're going to have times when you're like, I don't agree with you. I don't feel that way or whatever. And it doesn't mean that you're feeling any such a way about it. It just means that you have more of a real relationship with somebody. So you're seeing maybe more sides of them than just that one thing or that one side. I don't know. I think that there's a real fine line sometimes between being real and just trying to be off-putting because you want to dismiss a conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but you also have to be self-aware and aware of others, right? I mean, I think for the most part, Brittany may not be quite as much, but for the most part, we're extroverts. I'm actually an introverted extrovert, And that's why, when Dustin was saying before, I was kind of like, because there are times when I just don't want to talk. It's nothing about you. It's nothing about me having attitude. It's just at that moment in time, I'm trying to recharge, or I'm thinking about something that I need to focus on.
Yeah,
now,
that's
you
true.
Come back 30 minutes later and fuck, man, I'll talk your ear off and go show you anything. But, for that moment in time, I'm just kind of in that recharge mode.
Well,
Right.
one thing that I've never really understood is I wish that more people would just be upfront with you about those things. So, like, in that situation, if that's how that biker felt, I wish they would have just been like, hey, man, I just don't really feel like socializing. Said that
Oh,
to
100%.
Dustin.
I would have taken that and been like, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for some reason, just in our world, people don't act that way, and I've always thought that was super bizarre. Like, just tell people how it is. You're not going to read into anything. Just be upfront with them.
Yeah, but do you really? Is it really on that person to tell you that? Hey, don't talk to me or whatever.
Why not though? Why
know.
not, Dave? Because
I just look at it from the perspective that we should all be a little cognizant of other people and aware of what's,
I think,
of the situation.
I think that's that comes with a little bit of emotional maturity, right? Learning to read a situation and know when somebody wants to be talked to and when somebody wants to be left alone. And I think that we all find ourselves in situations where we maybe misread that interpretation, right? Somebody makes eye contact and you think, oh, they've opened up the door, and you go over to have a conversation and they shut you down, or they intentionally act like an asshole. And I think in Dustin's defense, I think that many times as motorcyclists, we naturally assume when someone's riding a bike that motorcycle is the icebreaker. That's your in. So that's the easiest thing to say, hey, I like your bike. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And that's the icebreaker that starts the conversation. Because I use that as an example at FDBM. Like, if you're afraid to come to an event, come to FDBM. If you don't know what to say to somebody, find somebody standing next to their bike and go over and talk to them about their bike. It's the easiest thing to do. And now you've made a friend, right? Because I will say, and I really try not to be guilty of this, but when we have, this is going to be our third FDBM coming up, and there are definitely people that I want to make sure I give FaceTime to, that I want to see, that I want to talk to, but I also don't want to ignore that first time person that's come to the event, that's put themselves out there and wants to be a part of the community, and then that person doesn't meet or talk to anybody, right? And so that's what I try to do, like the meet and greet day, is make sure that every time when somebody pulls up, that I'm over there just like greeting them and talking to them and whatever, because I want them to immediately feel like they're welcome and that there's a place for them in that scenario. Because I found out that the easiest way for me to get over any anxiety that I might feel about a certain situation is just to be the aggressor and go and just make the first move. And then that situation tends to solve itself.
Or you get brought up on charges.
Or I get brought up on charges. Either way, it turns out fine, right? I mean that,
So
either way, you're never going to catch me smiling on camera.
except right now.
Snapshot that shit.
Yeah, right.
So I'll take this scenario a step further. Say that fellow that came into that tavern one day was a patched member of some RCMC, whatever. What kind of attitude or impression are you giving you and your MCRC acting that way towards somebody who rides motorcycles who may be considering, being a hangaround or joining a club? And you hear it all the time. Club memberships are down in a lot of places. They're looking for more. But if you have attitudes like this, it's not helping your cause.
Yeah, I think you have to think about that. If you're wearing a patch, you gotta keep those things in mind. It's similar to any organization that you'd be a part of, right? Whether it's a motorcycle community or not.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the honor of hanging out with some cool clubs like Hogs and Frogs. We hung out with some cool ones. Those guys had all the right attitude. They were fun to hang around, easily approachable. They invited us to their clubhouse. We hung out with them. We drank with them. We hung out with them all weekend at Hogs and Frogs. I had a great impression of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Bub and Ray Ray, man.
But it'd be interesting if we could find the guy you're talking about and ask him what his take on the situation was.
Shit, I don't even know his name.
Because chances are he probably didn't think he was being an asshole.
That's true.
You know?
If you knew his tone, it screamed asshole. It was just shy of a fart.
Could be. Well, maybe he was about to shit his pants and he needed to focus more. 'Cause I-
Or
you know,
maybe he just did shit his pants.
How many
Maybe,
times
yeah.
have we been
He's like, I gotta
there
get out of
where
here.
you're trying to get in or you're waiting on someone to get out of the head, you know, and you got to focus.
You're like, yeah. Listen, I'm pushing cotton here, so I'm not in the mood for a conversation. I need to get in there right now.
But I will say when I'm in kind of that situation and someone asks me about my bike or says something, I try to be very polite.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and go, oh, yeah, thanks so much. Or, you know, you've got a nice bike too or whatever. And then I turn my head. Right. And that should be a signal to a normal person. Okay. Don't need to keep pursuing it. And yet there are people who will pursue it. And in that
Right.
case, I'm not the asshole. The other person's the asshole for not understanding. I don't want to fucking talk to you right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, that situation, it made me think about the impression I can give other people, whether they're riders or not.
Yeah.
If I stop somewhere where I've never been before and I get off a bike, gas up take a piss, take a shit, whatever, I don't want to come off as an asshole because it can reflect on the community as a whole to people that don't ride.
Sure.
Yeah,
some
that's
people,
very true.
some people might realize, oh, he's just having a bad day, or some people might say, man, this guy's a dick. I guess all motorcycle riders are dicks too.
Right.
I don't
Oh
get
yeah.
that impression.
I think about. I've thought about that before too. Like, I distinctly remember when I was in my 20s and crotch rock. I mean, this was a long time ago, Brittany. So crotch rocket.
What are you, like,
crotch
100?
rocket.
Crotch rocket. Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
were very popular, right? And I remember you'd pull up to an intersection and those guys would just be revving those bikes like just nobody's business, right?
What do you
And
mean they used to? They still do that.
Sure, right? And automatically you think, oh, these motherfuckers, right?
Uh-huh.
Like automatically that's what you think. Like I ride a motorcycle and I'm thinking these motherfuckers, and so I'm guilty of that exact same behavior of having that impression of those guys doing it. And honestly, my impression came from, listen, I know that your crotch rocket is fuel injected. There's no reason for you to be sitting there revving the shit out of it unless you're just trying to draw attention to yourself. Right. So that was my thought about why that came to be. It's like, when you used to hear the old Harleys, they used to be choked down so far that if you weren't giving a little gas at an intersection, the bike would stall.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a reason why they were brapping the throttle was to keep their bike started. It wasn't to necessarily draw attention to themselves.
It's kind of like there's really no excuse to have an obnoxiously loud exhaust that rattles the shit out of everybody behind you, huh? Same thing.
I mean, I don't think that's at all the same.
You don't?
But I mean, think what you want. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I literally never expected my bike to be that loud. It was just
I don't think anybody did.
It was just a really great byproduct. That's all.
Well, I don't know. It's shaken me because I spent a lot of time last week when we were going over the plans for the stage 2 going, how loud do you think this is going to make it? I don't want to be a Kid Moto 22 loud.
Well, this is honestly what blew my mind was my bike's not nearly as loud as it could be because I still have the cat in my bike and the head
right?
pipes.
Oh,
I mean,
that's-
right. I know. Like I thought I was going to change them out. And now I'm not fucking with it. It's way, way too loud beyond. If I took those head pipes out and put oh Jesus, it'd be.
Well, I'm doing
really
that on
super
mine.
obnoxious.
I'm going with catless head pipes. Unless you're with the EPA, and I'm not. I'm just lying.
Right. Yeah. And you're also getting. Are you getting the Woods cam, Dave?
No, I'm doing the Jims. The
Jims. Well,
821E.
Okay. Either way, Woods cam, Jims cam, SNS cam, they're all pretty substantial. your bike's going to be significantly louder.
I
Dave.
know it is. I just hope it's not like obnoxious. I feel guilty. I'm one of those people. I actually feel guilty, like going through the development or anything. If my
I
bike
feel
is
zero
loud.
guilt.
I
Not
know.
Dude,
even
the
a
fucking
little
loud
bit of
trucks
guilt.
around here. I don't give a shit
Yeah,
how
no,
loud
if
my
I-
bike is.
If I'm riding to work, I like go very easy on the throttle, just kind of rolling out of the development. I don't.
I figure if I'm
You
awake, everyone
overthink
else
that.
should be too.
What's that?
If I'm awake, everyone else should be too.
Yeah. Back to what we were talking about with assholes being assholes.
There you go. Chalk it up.
Yeah, right. You're feeding the stereotype, dude.
Feeding the stereotype.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
gonna lie. I still stereotype, like, and I don't think about it, I guess, that much. But that sport bike example you gave is a perfect one. Anytime I see any sport bike people revving their bikes, I'm like, oh my god, who are these people?
They're usually pretty young, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's a whole
So
nother.
they're yeah. So now we need to talk about maturity.
I also judge the scooter riders in Kentucky because I have never seen more people on scooters in my entire life than here.
There's a lot of
And
man
it's
buns on
usually-
scooters, aren't there?
You mean like a
No.
Vespa? Like a Vespa?
Like Vespa, yeah. And it's usually like large adult men, multiple of them riding on the scooter at the same time.
Scooter club.
Multiple people on a singular scooter?
Yeah, I've seen.
Wow.
Jared pointed out to me the other day. I don't know what he was doing, how he found this information, but apparently,
You need to
Some
check
of
his web
those-
browser, Brittany. You need to
Probably.
check his web browser.
Some
I'm
of
thinking he
those-
met him at a social club.
some of those scooters, I guess, you can still, if you get your license revoked, apparently you can still ride them on the street here. I
Oh.
don't know the specifics, but he pointed it out the other day, and I'm like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. The type of characters, if we're talking stereotypes, I'm like, these characters
are
kind of
there
look
like-
like they might have a license.
Are they like
more.
two people on a scooter and the one in the back's holding like a box of moonshine or some shit?
No, but they don't, like, it'll be like sweatpants or something, or it'll be one of those days where it's pouring rain, and you just see those two dudes on a scooter just like down the road in the pouring rain.
Heading out to the meth
Like
lab.
nobody chooses
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, nobody goes on a scooter out in the rain with your buddy and wraps your
Yeah.
arms and legs around them and says, "Hang on real tight" when it's raining, unless you're doing some sketchy shit.
unless you don't have a license anymore, and that's all you can ride.
When does a scooter become a motorcycle? Is it displacement?
Yeah, it's displacement.
I don't actually know.
Do you know what the displacement is? Because I rode a Honda 80 V150 at work, and I don't know if that's considered a motorcycle or a scooter.
It depends on your state laws. So I know, like in North Dakota,
Oh,
for
wait a minute.
you
No,
to
it's a
get-
scooter. It's a scooter.
to get your motorcycle endorsement, it has to be up to a certain CCs. So there is a 2 or 3 scooter brands that you can take your motorcycle test on because they are the CC the displacement's large enough to consider.
Isn't
be
it 200
considered.
something?
I don't know, but I'm wondering because if you took a Grom motor and put it in a Vespa, it's a scooter. The Grom's essentially a scooter. It just doesn't look like one because the Grom doesn't go over 45 miles an hour.
Depends
Something
on
like
if it's on the road or in the back of somebody's pickup that just took it out of your garage.
And if you got some serious backwind.
Right. Yeah, but they don't go very fast. I mean, there are scooters that go highway speeds. So
Hey, speaking of backwind and Groms, has anybody seen Tony around here? Are we still coxless?
we are still coxless. yeah.
Wow.
He's still gone. He's still got the meat sweats from being in Texas.
He would have cussed us out.
Wait. Here's what I'm wondering. He was going to give Texans shit a couple weeks ago on this show, and he goes to Texas.
Yeah,
He went to Austin.
he went to Austin.
He
That's
goes,
if you ask the people in Texas, Austin is barely Texas. So
why?
Austin is
on,
like
depends on which side you're on. I mean,
right.
you know, people in
Austin's
Austin
like
thinks
Texas
it's
light.
They have some guns.
Austin's like the landing place right now for Californians and Arizonans.
They're taking over. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like the blue section of Texas. Dave's not disagreeing. He knows that I'm right.
I'm not. No, I mean, I mean, people in certain parts of Texas, if you tell them you're from Austin, then they'll tell you you're not a Texan
Right. See, I
because
told you.
Austin's not part of Texas.
Yeah, it's Texas Light.
It's like we got our own thing here. Every time we go on vacation somewhere, and somebody asks where we're from, we'll say Illinois. They automatically fucking say Chicago.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I'm like, no,
For sure.
it's all blue up there, but the rest of the state's red.
I do that though. I mean, when people ask like where my family lives, I tell them they don't. They don't live in Chicago, but I tell them Chicago. And the reason I do that is because nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about with all the surrounding areas.
You know, I'll be honest. I did that too until the 2 or 3 times I've been out to see Dustin, and I realized that Chicago is the only thing urban in that entire fucking state. The rest of it is one giant cornfield and looks just like North
That's
Dakota
true.
where I live. So
That's true.
when I think Illinois now, I think where Dustin lives, I should say 2 things. When I think Illinois, I have this beautiful picture of this river road in my head, and then automatically it goes right to a cornfield. and so like that's like how I think about Illinois now. I truly don't think about Chicago at all. Like to me, it's like Illinois, and you have to actually say the word Chicago for me to think about Chicago.
Yeah,
So,
if you're from that part of Illinois, though, people will just say Chicago because nobody knows.
dude, I've driven my ass
areas.
all over that fucking state, and there's only one city, and the rest of it is rural.
I mean, you're not wrong. I pulled up a map because I've never because I've never thought about this, and you are right. Chicago is the only one.
You know what though? This is the thing. Look at Minnesota. Minnesota is a huge state. Same thing. Minneapolis, St. Paul. The rest
Yeah.
of the state is forest and farm country.
It's
That's
pretty
it.
common
It's
in
one
a lot
city.
of states.
A lot of the Midwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
like
you-
Nebraska only has. I mean, there's other ones that like from being there. There's towns that are a little bit larger, but Omaha,
Omaha.
and Lincoln are the main. Yeah,
And I don't even think Lincoln counts.
the
how many
rest of
people
the
are in
state
Lincoln?
is just like
Lincoln's what, 85,000? 100,000 maybe?
no. Lincoln's 300,000.
See?
It's
300,000.
actually
Oh,
almost.
that falls into a city category, I think.
It's all just slightly smaller than Lexington.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, Springfield here is only about 100,000.
But if you guys ever seen any of those population maps where they talk about population density, dude, you hit,
Yeah.
what is it? The Mason-Dixon line, Dave? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Whatever. And you start heading west, it's ridiculous. There's like 3/4 of the population in the United States is east of the Mississippi. It's super ridiculous. So, I mean, if you go Mississippi and you go west over to basically Arizona, there's hardly anybody in that whole part of the country,
Except in Texas.
Well, look, there's less than 1 million people in North Dakota. There's less than 1 million people in South Dakota. There's less than 1 million people in Wyoming. There's less than 1 million. Montana might be 1 million now. I mean, these are huge areas of the country that there's not even 1 million people in.
No, but
There's
they have
like-
a lot of fucking balloons up there.
Oh yeah, we have tons of balloons, tons. We have a whole spy drone program that's right outside of the city I live in.
No shit.
We do.
I need to get my ass down to Southern Illinois this year because the Shawnee National Forest has good riding down there too.
Do you guys want to hear something really funny, interesting statistic? In 1991, North Dakota was the 4th largest nuclear power in the world.
I believe that.
When
The
was
state of North Dakota.
1991?
The
I
state
believe
of
They
North
have a lot of
Dakota,
nukes. They have a lot of
1991.
nukes over
Yeah,
there.
what was the 4th largest nuclear power in the entire world? If we seceded from the Union, we would be the 4th largest nuclear power in the entire world. North Dakota would have been. It's not anymore because they moved so many of them, but we were. And there was a period of time in the early 80s when North Dakota was number 2 in the world. We were the 2nd largest nuclear power in the entire world. The state of North Dakota was. It's nuts, dude. It was nuts.
It is nuts.
Now we just now we don't have as many nukes, but we have a whole shit ton of oil.
I'm rich, bitch.
We're
There's
rich,
a lot of
bitch.
balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to some Discord questions. We had quite a few this week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we did.
that.
We actually, yeah, there was one that was really good, I remember, that I took notice of.
Moral of the story, boys and girls, don't be a
Don't
dick.
be a dick.
But be yourself.
Yeah,
If you're overly bubbly, I'm gonna punch you like a fucking circus clown.
And if you don't see the assholes around you,
Look for me.
Can't find the asshole in the crowd.
Okay, I think the first question is from the Santa Claus.
Is this one of the
And-
new members?
I
The
think
Santa
so.
Claus. It's
Yeah,
Claus.
it's Q-U, yeah.
Santa Claus.
I'm gonna assume it's a male. I'm not sure who. I don't know their name. Anyways, it
Sexist.
says, "What I know it's sexist. What do you all think of patch vest, non-MC patches?" He says, "My hog chapter patches for several of their yearly rides. I'm not in an MC, not really interested in it, but also want to ride with a patch vest. I've never thought about them. Go for it."
I mean, it's personal preference. If you like patches on your shit, put patches on your shit.
Yeah.
I have a vest. I don't have one patch on it, but I do have that Route 66 one we got at the Ozarks. I need to put on my first manufacturing vest.
I have
It's probably the only one I'll put on.
Yeah, I have a vest with it's kind of a Memorial Day vest. I ride when I do like Rolling Thunder, or Rolling whatever it is today.
Yeah.
But I've got a whole shit ton of patches waiting to get a vest to put on to put them on.
So I'll tell you my feeling on patches, because I kind of grew up in that patch community when I was in Southern California, and I feel two ways about it. The first way is when I first started riding again about 5 years ago. I patched up a vest and I rode for about a season and a half, and I hung that vest in my closet, and I've never worn it since then. I personally don't want to be mistaken for something that I'm not. And so that's why I decided to ride with without any patches, because I didn't want to misrepresent a part of the community that ride with patches, and that patches are very important to, and as part of their identification. And I didn't want to misrepresent any portion of motorcycling. And so I decided that I would go without any type of patches on my vest, and I'm much happier for not doing that.
Well, but
I don't have anything against them. It's just not.
There are patches, and then there are patches. So which
Correct.
one you're talking about? Club patches, right?
Oh,
Or
well-
anything that could be misconstrued as a club
Correct.
patch. Yeah.
Correct. So when I grew up in motorcycling in the 80s in Southern California, everybody got a giant eagle patch, and you put it on the back, a giant eagle Harley patch, and you put it on the back of your denim vest. And then all the other patches that you had in your vest were patches that you collected from rides that you'd been on. And I actually have my mom's vest from the, circa 1984 that she used to wear back in the day that I hang in my closet. And it's a great heirloom, and I love it because it's this personal point in time in history. But I tried to repeat that when I started riding again and started putting patches on a leather vest. And then I realized that I didn't want to misrepresent the patched motorcycle culture. And so I decided against riding with patches on my vest. And I ride with somebody, Big Nick, who rides in my group,
Yeah, he
wears a
has
vest that has lots of patches on it. But Nick's also a veteran, so Nick has a lot of veterans patches on his vest. So I have to respect Nick for what he's displaying and how he chooses to display it. That's not. I don't do that. So, but I don't have anything against it. It just wasn't
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
And that's my vest, right? I have my vest is my military vest, that
Sure.
I have made up. So,
Each his own.
yeah. Okay.
We'll see. The next one. I know. How the hell do you say this? Oh, we talked about this name last time. It's SFC Huffman. Says, what are your thoughts about waxing your bikes? Well, everybody already knows that I only clean my bike like once a season, and I don't wax it. So
I've never waxed my bike.
I don't think I've ever waxed a car either.
Oh, I've waxed the car too.
Yeah, I don't wax my bike. I ride my bike and hose it down. when it needs hosing down.
I don't wax my bike because it's not the kind
It's
of paint
denim.
that can be waxed. It's denim.
I think the next real question, we have a couple jokes in there. John Doe says, "What kind of air does everybody run in their tires?"
No, that's actually a legit question. He may be joking, but that is a legit question.
How is
The
that
free
a legit
kind.
question?
The free kind.
Do you run?
Nitrogen,
I run nitro. Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't
Ryan,
know
you
that.
run nitro, right?
not anymore.
No. Why not?
One, just because I don't. Around here, you have to pay to have nitro filled tires, and I think it is as much as $30 now.
What?
Yeah, you have to pay here. So you can. So
Wow.
if your car dealership, if your car rolls off the lot and it has nitro filled tires, and you buy a service plan, they'll refill it. They don't charge anything. But if you want to go and have it filled after that with nitro, they charge you. And I'm only speculating. I don't know. My guess would be is that around here, our tires fluctuate so much because of the difference in temperature that we have to fill and let air. You know what I mean? You're kind of in this constant process of
but
keeping
that's
your
why you run
tires
nitro.
filled.
That's one of the reasons you run nitros because of that.
Yeah, I get that, but David, just when it gets to be that cold, if you park your car outside, nitro or no nitro, it fucks with the air in your tires. It just does. There's nothing you can.
Wow.
Because this is the thing, the nitro is you're not going to lose air because of the nitro, but the metal in your rim of your tire is going to expand or contract because of the temperature, and you're still going to lose some of that nitrogen. It just is what it is. So, so they charge for it here. So I just run air.
Yeah, I don't know like the norm in the area if they charge. I know my dealer, it's free nitro for the life you've got the bike, and they're just 7 miles away. So
Yeah, right.
I usually get nitro put in every time I have my bike serviced. But yeah, I would always run nitro rather than air.
I run only the freest, cleanest North Dakota air.
There you go. Dustin?
The free kind.
And Brittany didn't even know this was a real thing.
Yeah, she didn't
she's
know
like,
I didn't know that
she's
people
like,
put
I never
nitro
even
in
knew.
there.
I
Shit,
never heard of
because I've
that.
never done that. I always just
Wow.
I
So-
go up to the
Air
Shell
in my-
station. I fill whatever's in the fucking tube.
And
Yeah.
Brittany, if you want to know the distinguishing feature on most new cars, it's the valve stem that's green.
Green,
The
yeah.
green cap on the valve stem indicates that there's nitro in the tires instead of air.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now you
See,
know.
what nitrogen is, it's not. It's a gas though. It's not really air.
Oh,
Correct.
Air is a specific.
I run
thing.
nitro in my car as well.
Tony runs Taco Bell fart.
Yes, he does.
He does.
He keeps a stash in his garage.
Or Austin barbecue these days.
Ugh.
Yeah. All right. The next serious one is from some dude Mac,
Serious one.
and he says, "Since you guys are sponsored by Memphis Shades, do you have any pros and cons of running a Speed Demon Sport Shield over a Memphis Shades Fats? Have any of us actually used a Speed Demon?
I haven't.
No.
So we are not really qualified to answer that question. I think all of us have the
I'm gonna
Fair.
quantify it. I'm gonna quantify it by a basic. I think the Speed Demon Sport Shield is smaller, significantly smaller than the Memphis Fats Shield. Correct?
I think
If
so.
I'm not mistaken.
It's a different shape, correct?
Right. So I'm gonna say that the Memphis Shades Fats is gonna give you greater wind protection and probably not be aesthetically as pleasing as a smaller shield.
I would
So
agree.
that's gonna be my answer to that question, just based on that part of it.
Volt says, if somebody handed you the money to buy one, would you get a street glide or a road glide? I personally think the road glide looks better. So if I had to pick between the two, I would get a road glide.
Never buy a bike on looks.
Ooh, listen to this. Listen to this
The guy
educated
that-
dude.
The guy that's ridden dozens of them in the last month.
You like the street glide better?
Never buy a bike on looks.
Ooh.
But by riding, you mean around the parking lot?
Twice.
Twice, yep.
When it warms up, I will get to go further. But slow speed maneuvering will tell me everything I need to about a bike.
Do you have to wear one of those orange vests when you ride the bike around the parking lot?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I do not.
Interesting.
My answer would be RG3.
Dude.
That's not the question.
Dude,
That
You
is a
were-
road glide. It is a road glide.
It is a Road Glide
is.
3.
But it's a trike.
No. He specifically said street glide or road glide.
Yeah.
It is a RG3. It's a road glide 3.
I'll let Bolts comment in because I know he will once he hears this.
I know why he's
can.
asking this question. But before I say that, I had my ass on an RG3 this weekend. That's one sexy ass bike.
Yep.
That has changed my. I assumed, we haven't talked about this because I don't want to take any shit from anybody, but I had assumed that when the time comes, I would be on a Can-Am because I do not like the Harley big ass old looking trikes. But this RG3, that is in my future.
Picking up all the ladies at the bingo halls.
Hey, I'm telling you, that's a sexy ass bike.
Dave's going to be after all those old ladies and their pantyhose.
Hey. I would, to answer Volts' question, and Volts knows this because I do not like the Batwing fairing. Don't like it.
I
Hate
don't
it.
either.
Don't like it. It would
too.
have to be Road Glide, which
That's-
is why I have a Road Glide now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't
You
either.
don't
I
like the looks of the fairing?
I don't like the looks of the Batwing. I don't like the styling of the Batwing. I don't
Me
like
either.
the fact that it's attached to the forks.
Correct. That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
In the
I've
wind.
Never,
In the
I've
wind,
never
it just it
ridden one
fucks
of
with you.
those. Sorry. So I honestly don't know how it would handle, like how the handling is different for the two fairings, but
And it feeds the stereotype.
Brittany, you'd have a tough time seeing. You'd have to adjust the
Oh,
way that
yeah.
you'd have to adjust the way that you ride to adjust your vision differently.
Well, a lot
if
of
you had a
those-
huge fairing in front of you.
those touring bikes, anyways, I guess I shouldn't say a lot because I've only ridden a Road King. 'Cause I did ride a Road King at demo days. But the way that the stock setup is, that's not feasible for me. I mean, I made it work, but like I couldn't even get the kickstand up. It took me a minute to try and get the kickstand up because of the position of everything. And then I had to like scoot forward and backwards
Hey, Brittany,
just
I'll
to
tell you.
move the controls.
I'll tell you this: there is at least 2 that I know of, women stunt riders, that can completely 12 o'clock a road glide, and they're both of them are 5'3" or under.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So
that's
you
what-
could do it. It's just that you have to make the
get
adjustments.
Yeah. I mean, I rode it and it was fine, but I had to shimmy around with whatever stock stuff they had on it.
All right.
From getting to ride both a little bit, the one thing I noticed on a road glide is that damn fairing, you can't see directly in front of you at all. You can't really get an eye view of the road unless it's like 20, 25 feet in front of you. That's
Can you with the street glide? Does
Yeah.
it not come up as high or what? What's
the way I don't know if it's my height, the way I'm built or whatever, but that road glide is no, I mean having that problem that's a problem for me.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, Dustin, because when I first got on the Road Glide, I kind of thought the same thing. Then I realized, you know what? It's not as bad as my car.
Yeah, because
And
I'm
you-
trying to
and you
maneuver.
just
I'm
get
trying to
used to
maneuver
it.
this bike in and out of spaces in the showroom, and I can't see in front of me how far I am away from the next bike over in the row because
Right.
of that damn fairing.
But it's just like a car. You get in a different size car than what you're used to driving, and after a while, you get used to it.
Especially if you got a backup camera.
This is true.
Those are gold.
Yeah, this is the car I have now is the first car I've had with a backup camera, and I will never go back.
But
I don't
Oh,
think
but
he'll be able
nice.
to. I don't think he'll be able to now anymore.
I do
Once
know
you
what
go
you're
back
talking
up, you
about.
never go back up.
You know, the interesting thing, Dustin, for me was I got a darker shield than I thought that I should get when I first got the bike because I was concerned that it was going to restrict my vision further. But again, after a while, you're used to it.
Okay, teach
And
his
you,
own.
and you look a lot cooler.
There's the reason why the Street Glide's number one selling Harley Davidson.
Is
There's-
it? Is it still?
It is. It is still.
Is it?
There's a difference in the distance between the street glide fairing and the road glide fairing when you sit on the seat. The distance between the inner part of the fairing and your chest on both of those bikes. So the street glide fairing is actually significantly closer to you. And that's what
That would
they're
explain that,
ergonomically
yeah.
ergonomically they are different. But I agree with Dave. I'm not a fan of the fork mounted fairing versus a frame mounted fairing. That's my take on it. So, and that's FXRT, same situation, right? It's a frame mounted fairing, not a fork mounted fairing.
Yeah.
So.
Especially when you're going slow.
Yep. All right. Next question.
Makes sense. Next one, White Shed Customs.
Welcome to the Discord. He's new.
Yes, he is.
Welcome, White Shed Customs.
Assuming it's a male because most of them are males. Thoughts between blacked out or chrome bikes. Do y'all think chrome is coming back? I myself like the blackout, but my old man always said black is whack. Chrome gets you the dome.
Chrome never went. Chrome never went anywhere. You people just get so fucking infatuated with Instagram and think the popular thing on Instagram is all there is out there.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I think most of us have essentially blacked out. Well, I guess Dustin and I have chrome on ours, but
It just depends where you live.
So I have two different ways I'm feeling about this. Number one, I think chrome is coming back. You're seeing it more on some of the stock bikes. Now I'll say this. I do know that, and it probably falls under the, health regulations, whatever. So many states have put in so many regulations that many chromer companies have closed.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult right now to find good aftermarket chrome if you're looking at replacing those parts for your bike. So I'm in that process right now with looking for chrome parts for my other motorcycle, and I'm finding it very difficult to find chrome parts. So I think chrome is coming back, but I don't think the aftermarket's caught up. Most of the aftermarket is back to powder coating, anodizing, and colors in black. Chrome is much more difficult to find.
I don't like chrome.
I don't like a lot of chrome either.
Yeah, I don't like chrome on anything. I'm not a chrome guy.
I did embrace the chroma on mine more than I thought I would.
You've used it as an accent on yours, I think, Brittany, which I
Yeah.
still think is a good option. I know my buddy that I'd ride with, Nick, he just replaced his entire exhaust system and it's chrome. He's got his Heritage, and he put a true dual exhaust on there, and it's chrome all the way around from the head pipes all the way back. It looks really nice. It just does. It looks really nice. But again, it's personal preference, right? I mean,
Yep.
those
Yeah,
fuckers
there's
show
some-
spots like nobody's business.
There's some stuff, like some parts and whatnot on mine that I genuinely have thought about buying, like the black kit. Like the trim pieces that go around the gauging and whatnot. When I first bought the Sport Glide, I thought for sure that I would just buy all the black stuff and just like black everything out. And now it's kind of grown on me. I kind
You
of
wanted
like
to
some
black
of the
out your
chrome.
trim?
Yeah, black out the trim.
How does that work? Is it like a dye or something?
If you clean the carpets,
Nope,
you could die.
not even going there.
I'm taking the bait. Damn it.
All right.
You can dye your trim. I mean,
We have one more
St.
question.
Patty's Day, there's green trim.
Oh
I mean,
my God.
Valentine's Day, there's red trim. There's probably red trim once a month.
Oh, God.
Oh,
my
no,
God.
dude. That was
That one
was too
definitely
far.
over the line.
You fuckers are way
That
too
was-
slow.
no,
that
dude,
took you guys like
that
3
was-
seconds to get that.
There is
No.
a delay over the internet, you know,
no,
from
the
when
first
you
2
speak and we
seconds was
hear
like,
it.
did he actually fucking say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
The last question for today from Master of None Moto. Where do you draw the line between going to the local HD shop for parts versus ordering them online? Having a decent relationship with the local shop seems important, but I can usually find deals online, and I like to work on my bike.
Well, I'll speak on behalf of Tony. He don't wait for shit. He just orders it by look.
It's true. I don't know, like, for me personally, I'm not really sure how I've decided. I think you do. You have to, like, balance the price and then sometimes availability.
Yeah, it depends on your budget. If the part's in stock, because we know we've been dealing with shortages. They've gotten a lot better, though.
Well, and I think
recently.
some parts, I guess I just feel more comfortable buying them from Harley.
Because you know they'll fit.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they made them a certain way. They
No
intended them a
guarantee on
certain
that.
way.
No guarantee on that, as we
Well-
found out last year.
That does happen. They do weird stuff sometimes.
Don't buy universal fit.
Yeah.
Don't buy bag handles.
Yeah.
And
Just don't
expect
do
them
it.
to
Just
be
leave them on there.
expect them to be cut for
That was really weird.
Threaded. They weren't
Yeah,
Threaded.
threaded,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
What do you,
so
how do you guys handle it? Do you have preference?
okay, so this is. I think you got to look at one of two ways. If you want the local shops to stay open, you need to throw them some money. Otherwise, they're going to close. So if you just order everything online, your local shops, your local whatever, they're going to close. But I think we mistakenly think that when your bike breaks down, that it's an emergency. And there's no such thing as a motorcycle emergency. I've heard
What?
this before. There's no such
What?
thing as a motorcycle emergency. We use our motorcycles for more entertainment than we use it for transportation.
We
That's
do
bullshit.
on this podcast.
No, we do in
Perhaps.
America. We do in America.
In the state of Kentucky, there are a lot of strange individuals who own strange motorcycles because it is their only source of travel.
I'm gonna
unless
say-
they were using like the bus systems.
I'm making a populist statement here that
Okay,
the
well.
majority of riders in
And
America
ghetto-
use
ghetto
motorcycles
Lex.
use motorcycles for enjoyment more than they use it for transportation or their only form of transportation.
What does that
So
have to
that's
do
fair.
with the question?
Well, I'm getting to that, Dave.
Okay.
That while your car breaking down can be an emergency because you need to get to and from work or you need your car to get wherever you need to get, motorcycles aren't going to be considered an emergency. So unless you have a developed relationship with a local shop or a local dealership, they may not prioritize what you think is an emergency. If you've got, so if you've never brought your bike into a shop or your local dealer and you've always done your own stuff and your bike breaks down and you actually need them, they may not prioritize you at all because you've never developed a relationship with them and they don't give a shit about your money. But if you have developed a relationship with somebody and they know you and they know your face, they might prioritize your needs over someone else's.
It's
I
true.
don't think that necessarily ties back to just an emergency. I mean, I think it's anything, right? I mean, you build a
Sure.
relationship with people, and people take care of people they're in relationships with.
You're right.
I will say I have heard from more than one dealer that they are not keeping stock of parts in the parts stores as much as they used to.
Well, they
So
can't do
that's a
they
whole
can't do parts.
situation as
They can't do
well.
parts trading anymore, Brittany, either.
Yeah. It's
So
like
you-
they've really changed that. And well, I can tell you too, like the tiny little screws that are very easily to break on your primary or whatever cover.
Should have listened.
Those ones.
Good and tight is not a torque adjustment.
Right.
Should've
Well,
listened.
No, I was
the other
apparently
thing
I'm just very strong, guys. I mean, look at me. You can
the
tell.
other thing I would challenge everybody to do is the next time you have a simple part, I'm not talking about a $5,000 part. The next time you have a, HD stands for $100, right? So anytime you have a $100 part that you need to order it off the Harley-Davidson USA website. Okay? When you get that part, see where that part was ordered from. Right now, Harley is doing this thing where when you order from their HD website, they use your area code and they funnel that sale through the closest local dealer to you. So
That's
this happened to me
interesting.
not too long ago. I ordered my part and all of a sudden I got this part shipped to me from Harley-Davidson of Fargo. I didn't order it from there, but the company funneled my part through the sale of that dealership. So that's another thing that they're doing that the Harley dealer, the mothership is doing to get more sales going through individual dealers. And they're not allowing dealers to trade parts internally anymore. Those dealers have to order those parts.
I will say
Yeah.
there's another reason not to order from the USA website. At least for me, if I'm going to buy a Harley part, I go to my dealer. One thing I believe in relationships and in business. That's my thing. But I also get a discount on everything I buy because they not unlike some, but unlike all. That's not the right way to say it. Not all dealers give veteran discounts anymore, but mine is one that does. So it's an automatic 10% savings.
And I think too, like I think it's important to, like Dave said, to develop those relationships. Even if it's with a local shop or a local dealer. I've said it before. If you want them to stay open, I've even done a video about it. If you want them to stay open, you got to throw them some business. You have to. Whether it's instead of buying your oil from Amazon, you go to your local shop and buy the oil that they have on their shelf. Maybe you're going to pay $1 or $2 more a quart for it, but you know what? Give that small business, that local business, your business. Just do it. I mean, is it worth the $2 or $3? I don't think it is. Keep them open. And throw them a bone and send some of your business their way. Even if you want to do that work at home, I don't. My local shop doesn't change any of the fluids on my bike anymore. I do it all myself, but I will buy my stuff from them, especially if I know I'm going to do it something last minute.
Yeah, keep the money in the community. I mean, there's stuff I've ordered from local bike shops here in the area that I could have ordered online and got cheaper. But these are small businesses that are run locally, and I think we've talked about it before on the podcast. The correlation between stuff we're talking about now and like the photography business, right? Where 15, 20 years ago there were photo shops everywhere, camera shops everywhere. Now you're hard pressed to find one, because people have been buying off Amazon and everything else, and it's just put those local shops out of business. So. Support your local businesses, no matter what you're talking about.
Well,
Check it out. We just had a new, not a question, but shout out to 509 Biker, who just dropped into our questions channel here. Been listening for months and finally decided to get on the Discord. Love your guys' content. Thank you all. Thank you, 509 Biker.
Did we mention club style sandwich?
No, I did not.
Did we miss that?
He had a similar comment.
Yeah.
Just found the podcast and I'm loving it. Thanks for the great content. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you guys for listening every week.
Thank
like
you,
do.
Mr. Sandwich.
We're still trying to figure out why people do listen every week. I know we have fun doing this every week.
So do you think that's like he likes club sandwiches?
Yes.
I guess so.
Is that where the name comes from?
Maybe he likes club style sandwiches.
Club style. I've had club sandwiches.
It's
plenty.
got
What's a
T-bars
club
on it.
style? It's got what? T-bars?
It's a club sandwich with T-bars.
It's 3 pieces of bread and T-bars
Yep.
going through it.
It's a piece of bacon that goes across the top of the
piece of
bread.
bacon goes across the top.
Now I'm hungry.
Oh,
I
yeah.
need to go get a club sandwich.
Well, just so you guys all know, keep an eye on our website because we should be posting, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, that we'll be opening up our ticket sales for the charity bike, and join our Discord because it's fucking free.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love what we do, consider joining our Patreon and supporting the 5W Bikers. Nothing, everything that we do here costs us our own hard-earned dollars, and while we enjoy doing it, we do very much appreciate the support so that we can keep the lights on.
Well, that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. Tony, we hope to see you here next week without a stroke and minimal meat sweats.
Yeah. Make sure you don't look up in the sky tonight. You don't want to see a little cox coming at you.
We're out, everybody. Keep it dirty.